Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard has become a lightning rod for controversy, with her leadership style and decision-making being questioned on multiple fronts. Once hailed as a decisive and powerful leader, Henyard's tenure has been marked by a growing list of scandals, legal battles, and accusations of financial mismanagement. While her defenders argue that she is simply a strong leader navigating difficult terrain, others see her as a deeply flawed figure whose actions have driven the town into a quagmire of legal issues, public outrage, and financial instability. One of the most significant points of contention was Henyard's decision to appoint Ronald Burge as the new police chief in Dolton. Initially, this appeared to be a routine decision. However, it soon became clear that this appointment would spark a series of legal and political battles. Despite multiple warnings, Henyard chose Burge, who had an inactive certification with the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board, ILETS. Burge's certification was critical for the role, as it would allow him to legally carry a firearm and perform duties as a police officer. His inactive status meant that he was not legally authorized to hold the position. Yet Henyard proceeded with the appointment. This decision set off a storm of legal and political controversy. The town's trustees opposed the appointment and claimed Henyard had violated village ordinances by failing to seek the board's approval or comply with legal standards. Despite these objections, Henyard pushed forward, ultimately sparking an ongoing legal battle. The Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board made it clear that Burge was not fit for the role, but Henyard refused to back down. This has fueled accusations that she values loyalty over competence, and that she's more interested in consolidating power within her inner circle than in ensuring the safety and legal integrity of the town. Unfortunately, Burge's appointment was not an isolated issue. Henyard's time in office has been marred by numerous controversies, ranging from extravagant spending to appointing individuals with questionable backgrounds to key positions. Early in her term, Henyard faced significant backlash for using taxpayer funds to finance expensive trips, dinners, and even a lavish Valentine's Day party that included a private DJ. Critics argued that these expenditures were reckless, out of touch with the needs of the town, and emblematic of Henyard's inability to properly manage public funds in addition to her personal spending habits. Henyard has been accused of surrounding herself with individuals whose backgrounds raise serious questions about their suitability for public office. For instance, former Police Chief L. Lacey, one of Henyard's appointments, also had an inactive certification with ILETS, a pattern that continues to echo in the case of Burge. This has led to concerns that Henyard's leadership prioritizes loyalty and control over competency and legal compliance. As the Burge situation unfolded, Henyard found herself embroiled in a series of other scandals. One of the most publicized was her ongoing legal dispute with her landlord, Janetta Ho, over unpaid rent. Henyard and her partner, Kamal Woods, are reportedly facing eviction from a rental property due to unpaid rent dating back to August. The situation has been complicated by claims that Henyard and Woods have gone to great lengths to avoid being served with eviction papers, including allegedly changing the locks on the property to prevent necessary maintenance from being carried out. This personal legal battle has only increased public distrust of Henyard, raising concerns about her ability to manage the affairs of the town while grappling with personal legal issues. In addition to these personal disputes, Henyard's public leadership has also come under scrutiny due to her apparent failure to fulfill her financial and legal obligations. Critics argue that if she cannot manage her own finances and meet legal requirements in her personal life, it raises serious questions about her ability to effectively govern Dolton. This sense of disillusionment among residents has been compounded by reports of financial mismanagement within the town itself. Dolton is facing a growing budget deficit, and some vendors acclaim they have not been paid for services rendered in months. Meanwhile, the town's most vital services are being negatively impacted by these financial issues. Residents are left questioning how their tax dollars are being spent and whether Henyard's lavish spending habits are taking precedence over the needs of the community. Reports that Henyard has misused public funds for her personal indulgences only deepen the sense of betrayal felt by many in Dolton, who feel that their hard-earned money is being squandered rather than invested in the town's future. Financial issues are compounded by allegations of corruption. The FBI is reportedly investigating Henyard for potential financial malfeasance, including misuse of funds in both Dolton and Thoron Township, where she also serves as supervisor. Investigators are reportedly looking into dubious government contracts, excessive spending on personal luxuries, and questionable financial practices. These revelations have added fuel to the fire, leading to increased calls for Henyard's resignation and even a potential recall effort. As the investigation continues, residents are left wondering whether their mayor has betrayed the public trust despite mounting scandals and increasing legal challenges. Henyard has refused to step down. In fact, she has recently announced that she will be running for a second term as mayor, despite widespread public outcry. Her initial election victory in 2021, where she garnered over 80% of the vote, now seems a distant memory. With each new controversy, her public support appears to be eroding, But Henyard has shown a remarkable ability to persist in the face of adversity. Her refusal to back down in the face of mounting criticism suggests a strong desire to hold on to power, but remains unclear whether the strategy will help her secure a second term. Her leadership style, marked by an unwavering determination to maintain control, has sparked mixed reactions. Some view her persistence as a sign of strength, while others see it as an indication of an authoritarian streak. Henyard's refusal to admit wrongdoing or make concessions has created a political climate of deep division, where trust in her leadership is increasingly strained. The town of Dolton finds itself at a crossroads, as residents are forced to decide whether they will continue to support a mayor whose leadership has become synonymous with scandal, or whether it's time for a change in addition to her political woes. Henyard's personal life has become a source of public fascination and scrutiny. Her relationship with Kamal Woods and their ongoing eviction issues have brought attention to her personal finances, painting a picture of a mayor whose personal and professional lives are increasingly intertwined in a way that has alienated many. Her ability to avoid legal consequences in her personal affairs is being seen by some as evidence that she believes she is above the law, a sentiment that has only fueled the growing frustration among Dolton residents as Henyard prepares for her re-election campaign. It is unclear whether people of Dolton will grant her another term. Her public scandals, legal battles, and personal issues have created an atmosphere of mistrust and disillusionment, leaving many questioning her ability to lead effectively. Whether she can weather the storm and regain public trust remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. Henyard's tenure as mayor of Dolton has been marked by controversy, and the path ahead will not be an easy one. The political drama in Dolton is far from over, and as legal battles and investigations continue, it remains to be seen whether Henyard can salvage her political career, or whether the weight of her scandals will finally catch up with her despite growing criticism and calls for her resignation. Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard remains defiant, doubling down on her leadership position. Her actions in office, especially her extravagant spending and failure to address urgent community issues, have overshadowed any positive contribution she could have made. The public is increasingly focused on her controversial decisions, financial mismanagement, and personal scandals, rather than any efforts to improve the town. As Henyard's leadership continues to unravel, Dolton residents find themselves at a boiling point, feeling betrayed by the very person they once trusted to lead them. Henyard has shown little acknowledgement of the growing discontent among residents and refuses to address the mounting concerns. Instead, she remains entrenched in her position, unwilling to step down or consider the repercussions of her actions. For the people of Dolton, the stakes have never been higher, and with each passing day, the situation worsens. Adding fuel to fire is Henyard's personal legal turmoil, which has only intensified the already volatile political climate. A federal investigation into her financial conduct has placed even more scrutiny on her leadership, as the investigation focuses on allegations of misappropriation of public funds. According to recent reports, Henyard spent an astonishing $443,000 on Amazon in a single day, a revelation that left residents stunned and incredulous. The question on everyone's mind is how a mayor could spend so recklessly, especially when the town is facing a severe fiscal deficit. Henyard's spree of personal purchases didn't stop with Amazon. Additional reports have surfaced showing that she used public funds for her personal shopping at stores like Target, Walgreens, and Wayfair, retailers where public funds should never have been allocated. Dolton residents are rightfully enraged by these reports, questioning how Henyard could justify such lavish spending when the town is experiencing a financial shortfall approaching $5 million. These revelations have heightened the sense of betrayal among residents, many of whom believe their hard-earned tax dollars are being squandered on unnecessary luxuries rather than being directed toward the town's urgent needs despite mounting pressure. Henyard remains firmly entrenched in office, refusing to address her critics or provide transparency about her actions. Dolton's financial health has deteriorated under her leadership, and her personal scandals have made it increasingly difficult for her to maintain any semblance of public trust. The situation is reaching a critical juncture, with calls for accountability growing louder and more insistent. The public's patience is running thin, and Henyard's defiance is only making things worse. The town's financial crisis has been under intense scrutiny, particularly since former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot took over an investigation into the village's financial management. Preliminary results, published earlier this year, revealed a shocking decline in Dolton's finances. The town's general fund balance plummeted from over $5 million in 2022 to a deficit of $3.65 million by May 2024. This dramatic decline in Dolton's financial health has only amplified residents' frustration. Many are left wondering how their town fell into such dire straits under Henyard's leadership, especially given her lavish spending habits and failure to address the fiscal crisis. In an attempt to defend her actions, Henyard held a heated 90-minute Facebook Live session, during which she vehemently denied any wrongdoing. She dismissed the charges against her as part of a larger political power grab, accusing her critics of attempting to undermine her leadership. She even threatened legal action against those who criticize her. However, her aggressive demeanor and refusal to take responsibility only served to deepen public disillusionment. Instead of quelling concerns, her defiant response fueled further frustration, leaving many Dolton residents feeling that their mayor was out of touch and more interested in self-preservation than addressing the town's needs. Henyard's decision to fight back through public statements and online appearances has done little to restore her credibility. In fact, many residents now see her as a self-serving leader whose actions have contributed directly to Dolton's ongoing decline. Her refusal to engage with the town's financial realities, her disregard for public trust, and her increasingly erratic behavior have created an atmosphere of instability and uncertainty amid all of this. Henyard has hinted at starting a podcast to spill the tea and clear her name. She has promised to address the mounting accusations against her and present her side of the story. However, these plans have not materialized, leaving the public with more unanswered questions and ambiguous statements. Henyard's failure to follow through on her promises has only increased the public's frustration, as it appears she is more focused on self-promotion than on addressing the town's urgent issues. The situation in Dolton is now at a tipping point. Henyard's ongoing legal troubles, financial mismanagement, and personal scandals have created a perfect storm of political unrest. The town's future is in jeopardy, and residents are demanding answers. But Henyard continues to point fingers at her critics, failing to provide substantial evidence to back up her claims. Her inability to be transparent and offer concrete solutions has only deepened the public's mistrust. Henyard's defenders, however, remain unwavering in their support. They argue that she is the victim of political sabotage and that her leadership is being unfairly undermined by a coordinated attack from her opponents. According to this narrative, Henyard is a misunderstood leader fighting against a corrupt system determined to bring her down. But for many in Dolton, it is becoming increasingly difficult to see her as anything other than a leader who has put her personal interests ahead of the town's well-being. As investigations into Henyard's questionable spending practices and financial conduct continue, the public is left wondering how long they can continue to endure under her rule. The absence of hard evidence to support her claims of political targeting, combined with her refusal to engage with the real issues facing the town, has left residents feeling more disillusioned than ever. The town of Dolton is at a crossroads, and Henyard's fate as mayor seems increasingly uncertain. With each new revelation, her credibility continues to erode, and it seems unlikely that she can regain the trust of the community. The public's patience is running out, and Dolton residents are demanding accountability, even as Henyard remains firmly entrenched in office. Dolton's budget deficit is spiraling out of control, nearing a staggering $5 million, and the public is holding Mayor Tiffany Henyard largely responsible for the town's financial instability. As local officials and residents grow increasingly frustrated, they point to her financial mismanagement as a key factor in Dolton's ongoing economic struggles. Many feel Henyard has prioritized defending her reputation over taking responsibility for the serious fiscal problems facing the town, and this focus on self-preservation has raised questions about her ability to lead effectively. Henyard's refusal to address the growing budget crisis has fueled accusations of neglect. Residents are especially concerned by her lack of transparency and her seeming indifference to the urgent needs of the town. Despite the mounting pressure, Henyard continues to focus on shielding herself from criticism rather than confronting Dolton's fiscal challenges head-on. This failure to take meaningful action has only intensified the sense of frustration among Dolton citizens, who now feel that their mayor is more interested in protecting her image than in saving the town from financial collapse on top of the budget crisis. Henyard is also facing personal legal troubles, further complicating her leadership. She and her partner, Kamal Woods, are embroiled in an eviction case over unpaid rent on a rental property in Dolton. This legal dispute has become another point of controversy, amplifying skepticism about her ability to manage Dolton's affairs, both personal and professional. The personal and political turmoil surrounding Henyard has led many to question whether she is truly fit to lead the town through its growing crisis, despite insisting that she is the victim of unjust attacks. Henyard's increasingly lengthy list of personal and political challenges has left many wondering if her leadership is beyond repair. The ongoing investigations into her financial practices and questionable spending have only exacerbated the public's disillusionment with her leadership. Her defenders claim that Henyard is simply the target of a political conspiracy. But for many in Dolton, this narrative rings hollow. As the town's finances continue to worsen and her credibility continues to erode, it seems increasingly unlikely that Henyard will be able to turn things around. The budget deficit is now one of the primary concerns in Dolton, with residents pointing to Henyard's financial mismanagement as a key reason for the town's economic instability. The general fund balance has plummeted, and many believe that Henyard's failure to address the budget crisis in any meaningful way has directly contributed to Dolton's financial struggles. The situation has become a major focal point, with local officials and residents calling for greater accountability from Henyard, who they believe has been more focused on defending her image than addressing the town's pressing financial issues. Adding to the sense of urgency is Henyard's ongoing personal legal issues, particularly the eviction case. Her failure to address this issue, as well as her continued deflection of responsibility for the town's financial collapse, has only further eroded her public standing. The combination of political scandals and personal disputes has left many questioning her judgment and ability to effectively lead Dolton. As the legal and financial challenges mount, Henyard's position becomes more tenuous by the day. Henyard's tendency to deflect blame and frame herself as a victim of a political attack has further alienated many in the community. Instead of acknowledging the mounting evidence against her, she continues to position herself as a target of coordinated political sabotage. For many, however, this narrative is growing increasingly difficult to believe. With Dolton's financial instability deepening and her legal troubles piling up, it seems that Henyard's continued focus on defending her reputation has only worsened the town's already precarious situation. The lack of concrete evidence to support her accusations has also intensified public scrutiny. Henyard's refusal to provide transparency in her dealings with public funds, combined with the ongoing investigations into her financial conduct, has made it even harder for the public to trust her leadership. As the budget deficit grows and her personal legal battles continue, residents are left wondering if Henyard's leadership has been more of a hindrance than a help to Dolton's future as the financial crisis deepens. The town of Dolton is facing an uncertain future. Many residents are now convinced that Henyard is unfit to lead, given her financial mismanagement, personal legal disputes, and lack of transparency. The public's trust in Henyard has eroded to the point where it seems increasingly unlikely that she can recover from the damage she has caused. With mounting legal and financial issues and widespread dissatisfaction with her leadership, Henyard's time in office appears to be coming to an end. The situation in Dolton is reaching a critical point. The town is teetering on the edge of financial collapse, and Henyard's ability to govern effectively is being called into question. As the public grows more frustrated, the stakes have never been higher. Dolton residents are demanding accountability, but Henyard continues to deflect blame and refuse to take responsibility for the town's troubles. The question now is whether Henyard can salvage her leadership, or whether her tenure will be marked by failure and controversy at this stage. It seems that Henyard's leadership is increasingly unsustainable. Her financial mismanagement, combined with personal legal entanglements and a growing lack of trust among the public, has left Dolton in a precarious position. The town's future is uncertain, and the pressure on Henyard to either resolve the crisis or step down is only intensifying. The mounting legal and financial challenges, coupled with public dissatisfaction, make it increasingly unlikely that Henyard will be able to turn things around before her time in office comes to an end.